Hey there, Postal here. So today we're going to go over a couple things that are coming up this weekend for World of Warplanes. And let's just hop right into it. So the June deals, what are June deals? Let's see here. So June deals, you can get gold and premium times. This is basically your chance to get for the full month a premium account plus some gold, small supply bundles, regular supply bundles, and big supply bundles, and then epic supply bundles. So this is kind of standard stuff Wargaming has been doing over the last quite a few months. Every month, if it's your month to want to spend money and get some premium time and yada yada yada, it's the time to do it. So these aren't really anything special, so to speak. But I mean, they're helpful if you're wanting to spend money on the game for whatever reason. It is kind of cool that they've got the Pacific Theater bundle going on here. So I mean, yeah, it's all tier 2 through 4 planes, but they're all geared towards that early Pacific War, for World War II there. We'll actually go into that a little bit more detail later. What's nice about these is honestly just the hangar slots. Not that the planes themselves are bad, but I mean, having extra hangar slots at the end of the day, if you decide to get rid of one or two or three of these, you get to keep those hangar slots, which is always pretty nice. And you get the 100% trained crew, which, isn't bad. It's not, the greatest thing in the world, but 100% trained crew is not bad either. $25 for the whole package, is that's averaging out to $3.80 or so per plane. So I mean, including the hangar and including the fully trained crew. So I mean, it's not a terrible package, but I mean, it's just not up my alley. What I did want to talk about, though, take advantage of that if you want to, but what I did want to talk about was Way of the Warrior. So from June 5th through June 8th, you can get a lot of nifty discounts on a specific tech tree line. Which specific tech tree line? This tech tree line. So this is the Key 162 Type 3 line. This is the Japanese Army version of the fighters. They're less known, at least to us Americans, than the Zero line, which is the naval version of the fighter planes. The thing with the Zero line is it jumps off kilter at tier 8. You're flying around multi-rolls, which is all well and good, but you're used to going into fighters. So the Key line is pretty nice just because it is nothing but the fighters. It is a little disappointing that the discounts don't go towards anything in the heavy fighter line. The heavy fighter line here branches off of both of the tier 4s and branches back in at tier 8, but it is what it is. As far as the planes I've got, I didn't really keep a lot of the Key line. I didn't really like it the first time I went through it. But I've gone back and bought, the Key 84. As you all know, if you've watched any of my previous videos recently, I think this is probably one of the best tier 10 fighters available in the game. It's an A7M with a lot better altitude performance and quote-unquote better guns. I'm not quite sure they're better guns, but the Key 84 has two 30mm cannons and two 20mm cannons, while the A7M has four 20mm cannons that reach out a little bit further. So, pick your poison kind of thing. The whole Key line is just like any other Japanese fighter. They burst into flames just looking at them sideways. So, always be aware of that. But the Key line is very, very powerful in that it's got pretty good altitude performance for such a turny fighter. And don't get me wrong, these are incredibly turny. Very, very good in a dogfight. There's not a lot that can outdo them. Some of the Yaks and the Zeros, of course, can, but those outdo everything. So the fact that this is on par with those, but having twice the altitude performance, is pretty substantial in my opinion. So back to the Wargaming page here. Everything tier 7 and below is 50% off, which is really, really awesome. 50% off all decorations in gold. I wonder if this is for, I'm assuming this is for all planes, not just the key line. And three times on your first victory this weekend. So that's all good stuff for sure. You actually get 30% off on the tier 8, 9, and 10. I didn't keep the tier 8. I was a little bit frustrated with it. There's a lot of tier 8s that I get frustrated with as far as tech trees are concerned, because at tier 8 suddenly there's jets in the game, or a lot more jets in the game, and any plane that doesn't have a jet engine is severely hampered in my opinion. And the Key 94, although it is a great platform, really good guns, really good altitude performance, its airspeed was so lacking and its maneuverability actually dropped off that its good maneuverability wasn't worth the pretty poor airspeed in my opinion. That's just my opinion. Take it out with a grain of salt, or whatever the saying is. After that, though, you do get the Key 162 Type 1, which is pretty wonkadoo, ugly-looking plane, but it's a really quite solid platform. This is actually based on the ME 162 one, which is a German plane, if you can't tell from the name. Wargaming put it into the game because Japan did get the blueprints for this plane and was going to make it maybe eventually one day. But never got around to it, I don't think. Anyway, this is a really solid all-around Tier 9 plane. It's got to be one of the more maneuverable Tier 9 planes, I think, besides the Yak-19. It has two 30mm cannons, which God knows are not everybody's favorite, but they're pretty rapid firing, and so unlike some of the other 30mm cannons, these actually hit relatively okay. Do keep in mind, though, as with every 30mm cannon, when in doubt, aim further out. They do tend to actually have very slow projectiles. Got one engine on top here, and just like with the Key 162 Type 3, slightly larger version of the Tier 9. This has two engines. These engines get knocked out all the time, and so just be prepared for that if you're going down this line. This is one of the few fighter planes I've got that I actually have it set up to assume that my engine's going to go out. I tried to build them for engine defense. I put on whatever the heck the thing is that protects the engine. Where is it? Engine armor protection. I used that. I did everything I could to make myself, built my pilot towards that. And the engine still gets knocked out. There's just no way to get the survivability on this plane to avoid the engine catching on fire, or just being knocked out. So rather than even trying to act like I could do that, I don't have the engine boost on this, the engine cooling. I've actually got the manual engine restart, just because my engine goes out so often. Same with the emergency control system. Typically I would put on here pneumatic control assist, but this plane is really, really turny anyway, very, very maneuverable. I don't necessarily need that if I'm playing smart and I see that there's a yak, which is the only thing they can outturn you. I act accordingly, otherwise I can outturn everything else, so I don't need this. I probably won't even get it once I specialize it. I'll probably get the bleed system so that I can not catch on fire all the time. That's how I've set it up after racking my brain on how to make this plane better. Again, another solid platform. It's not my favorite tier 10 in the game, but it's a fun tier 10, and it can be a good tier 10. Just be aware of its limitations. It's actually got less altitude performance than the tier 8, which is something else that kind of blew my mind. Like you went from tier 8 to tier 9 and 10, and the altitude performance actually goes down. So I was like, okay. But still very, very, for how turny you are in a jet plane, and most jets aren't very turny, this is pretty high altitude for a jet plane, I guess you could say, for this turny of a jet plane. But anyway, so you've got those discounts. It's a lot of rambling, Postal. Come on now. You've got those discounts on this entire line. And so I would recommend going down this line just because there are some very solid planes. A lot of people do like the Tier 8, even though it's not necessarily my favorite. It's still a very solid plane. just doesn't mesh with me. Then again, maybe I should go back and buy it and see. It's on discount, right? Beyond that, we've got honor and duty missions. So anytime you earn more than 5,000 personal points in a single battle, in one of those planes we just discussed on this tech line, you'll get 50% battle experience and 50% in credits. Wow, that actually seems... I don't remember what the last missions were, but that seems significant. 50% battle experience, 50% credits. I mean, you're already getting a discount on the price, so the fact that you're getting additional credits to buy planes that are already cheaper, this might be a really, really good weekend to go down that key line, huh? Beyond that, let's see, you can get an advanced collimator sight, so that's for the tier, what is that? That's got to be for tier 4, 5, and 6, I think. I mean, 5, 6, and 7 if it's period 2. But you actually get that by flying the tier 2 through 4 planes. You can only get it once per account, and you get it for defeating 30 aerial targets while defending a sector, which is fine because that's exactly what the keys do. They defend sectors like it's nobody's business. You can get a gyroscopic sight, which is the period 3 version of it, so for tier 8, 9, and 10. You get that if you get 2,500 capture points. Oh, for destroying enemy aerial targets. For capturing while you're in a tier 5 through 7 plane, again, which is fine because this plane is really good at taking out other fighters. And I would definitely recommend these planes to go for fighters. The guns themselves are pretty strong, but they're just best at taking out light fighters like themselves. And if you're gotten yourself up to tier 8 through 10, if you can get 80,000 damage to aerial targets in any number of battles, you'll get 3 unique supply crates, which is pretty freaking cool in my opinion. The unique supply crates are the ones that have a lot of the different goodies in them. And last but not least, just if you're not going down the key line but you still want to take advantage of all the fun, you can go ahead and destroy 2 Japanese aircraft in a single battle. That will get you 20% crew experience, and it's repeatable, although just once per battle, which I guess makes sense. I guess it's saying if you take out 4 Japanese aircraft, you're not going to get like 40% crew experience, which is fine. So yeah, so another cool, in my opinion, cool weekend mission going on here. I hope that Wargaming continues to do this type of stuff. Just a few weeks back. And if you want to get to a tier 10 or even just get to the next level on a certain tech line that you're going down and you haven't really gotten to the end or even halfway through it, this is a perfect kind of weekend to do it. 50% plus 50% is pretty significant, whether you've got a premium account or not. It will definitely add up quickly. And so, yeah. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed my opinion of this particular game event for the weekend, and I'm going to go ahead and link some gameplay from these specific planes in the description down below if you want to see some gameplay. Otherwise, good hunting out there, take advantage of the discounts, and have yourself a great day.